Hello dear students, we are studying Chapter 5 Morphology of Flowering Plants from Unit 2, that is Structural Organization in Organisms. In my last video, we have studied about the inflorescence. We saw the two types of inflorescence, that is racemose and cymose. After which we started with the types of the flowers. We saw how the flowers can be classified into different types based on the presence of bracts or the symmetry in which they can be divided or the number of floral appendages or the position of the ovary. So based on this various criteria, how the plants can be classified, that we have seen in my last video. Today we are going to be starting with the next part, that is the parts of the flower. So when we are talking about the parts of the flower, here the first part is calyx, second is corolla, third is androecium, and fourth is gynoecium. So the four parts of the flower are calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium. In these four parts, the calyx and the corolla are going to be called as the accessory organs, because technically the flower is a reproductive part of the flowering plant, and the main role, that is the reproduction, is going to be played by the androecium and the gynoecium. Androecium is the male part and gynoecium is going to be the female part. So they are going to be doing the main function of reproduction for which the flower is made. Then this calyx and corolla are going to be supporting the reproduction. They are helping the reproduction. And hence they are known as the accessory organs, whereas the androecium and gynoecium are known as the reproductive organs. Now let us study each one of them in detail. The first part, calyx. So when we are talking about the calyx, it is nothing but the outermost whorl of the flower. If you are taking any flower, it is going to be consisting of the green color leaf-like structure which is going to be enclosing the flower in the bud stage. And when the flower will grow, at that time it will remain at the base. This green color whorl is nothing but a bundle. This green color whorl is going to be called as the calyx. Each of the member of the calyx is known as the sepal. So if many are there, they are known as the sepals. So the calyx is made of sepals. Generally, sepals are green, leaf-like, and protect the flower in the bud stage. So when it is there in the bud stage, kali javaste. So when it is present in the bud stage, it is going to be protecting the flower. The calyx may be of two types, gamosepalous or polysepalous. Now what is gamosepalous? You can observe in the picture over here, the sepals that are there are fused with each other. They are united, forming a bell-like structure. It is known as gamosepalous. Gamo means fused. Sepalous is the sepals. Then in the second one, you can see the sepals are free. They are not going to be fused. So this type of arrangement is the polysepalous. So they are free. Sepals are free. So here in this manner, the sepals can be gamosepalous or polysepalous. Coming to the corolla. The corolla is nothing but it is the whorl inner to the calyx. So after the calyx, what you are having? It is the petals. So this group of petals is known as nothing but the corolla. So calyx is the sepals. After that, next the petals is nothing but your corolla. So petals are brightly colored. They are having beautiful colors. And this beautiful color of the petal is helping for the attracting the insects and for pollination. This corolla, same like that of your calyx, can be again of two types, gamopetalous and polypetalous. Same thing, gamo is fused. You can observe over here when the corolla are going to be fused, the petals are fused, forming a bell-like structure. You can see in this flower. The petals are not separate. It is known as gamopetalous. In fact, in this example over here, you can see that the petals are gamopetalous and the sepals are polysepalous. Means the petals are fused and the sepals are free. The other one is going to be the polypetalous. Polypetalous means all the petals are free. So they are going to be the polypetalous. You can observe in this diagram the polypetalous. Hibiscus is the example of the polypetalous. This corolla is going to be of different shape and different color based upon the different type of the plants. The corolla may be of different shapes, like it can be tubular or it can be bell shaped or the funnel shaped or wheel shaped. Depending upon the type of the plant, different varieties of plants petals are present. Then the arrangement, we studied the sepals, we studied the petals, that is calyx and corolla. So how they are going to be having the arrangement in the flower, that we have to study. And this arrangement of the sepals and petals in the floral bud is known as aestivation, important from exam point of view, usually most likely asked question for exam. Aestivation. What is aestivation? It is the mode of arrangement of sepals and petals in the floral bud is known as aestivation. You should by heart this. This can be asked for 5 marks. What is aestivation? Explain the types of aestivation. So what is aestivation? Aestivation is the mode of arrangement of sepals and petals in the floral bud. So now let us see the types of aestivation. So in the types of aestivation, we are having 4 types of aestivation: valvate aestivation, twisted aestivation, imbricate aestivation, and waxillary or papilionoecious aestivation. So here these are going to be the 4 types of aestivation, that is valvate, twisted, imbricate and waxillary. Let us study each one of them. The first one, that is valvate. So in the valvate type of aestivation, what is happening is the sepals and the petals in the roll are just touching one another at the margin without overlapping. You can see in this flower, the petals are going to be present in this manner that there is no overlapping and they are just touching each other. So this type of aestivation, you can symbolize it like this with the help of this diagram. So here you can observe that each petal is going to be just touching each other without overlapping. So this type of aestivation is known as valvate aestivation. Example is your calotropis, the example of that flower you can see in this diagram. The second type is going to be the twisted aestivation. So in the twisted aestivation, one margin of the appendage overlaps that of the next one and so on. So you can observe this in the case of the flowers like the lady's finger, China rose and cotton. So here what you are going to be finding that the petals are going to be overlapping each other at one side. Means one petal, one side is inside and one side is outside. So this type of the aestivation is going to be known as the twisted aestivation. Coming to the third one, that is the imbricate aestivation. In the imbricate aestivation, we can see that the margins of the sepals or petals overlap one another but not in any particular direction. In the twisted aestivation, we have seen that there is a direction. In one petal, if this side is going to be inside, then this one is going to be outside. The next side will be inside, next will be outside. So there is going to be a particular pattern of overlapping in twisted aestivation. But in imbricate aestivation, there is no such pattern, particular pattern. So the margins of the sepals or petals overlap one another, but not in any particular direction. They can be overlapping each other any manner. You can see this type of aestivation in the plants like cassia and gulmohar. Gulmohar you can easily find in your surroundings. This is going to be your gulmohar flower. So in this one you can observe this diagram. So this petal is having both the petal sides are inside. In this petal both the petal sides are outside. In this petal one is in, one side is out. So there is no particular direction for overlapping. This type of aestivation is going to be called as the imbricate aestivation. Then coming to the next one, that is the waxillary aestivation or the papilionoecious aestivation. So let us see in this what is happening. This is a very peculiar type of aestivation found in very few plants. The most famous one is the pea plant, वाटाण्याचं झाड आपण जे म्हणतो. Pea and bean plant. So what you can see in this there is a particular type of arrangement of only 5 petals. So there are particularly 5 petals are there, in which there is one large petal, 2 medium petals and 2 small petals. The largest petal, which is known as the standard petal, overlaps the 2 lateral petals, which in turn overlap the 2 smallest anterior petals known as keel. So you can see over here, this is going to be the one large petal, first large petal. It is overlapping the 2 medium petals, and these 2 medium petals are going to be overlapping the 2 small petals. These 2 small petals will be fused down. So this type of the arrangement you can see over here in the pea plant or the bean plants, wherein there is one large petal, 2 medium petals and 2 small petals which are fused. So this type of the aestivation is known as the waxillary aestivation. So these are going to be the 4 types of aestivation. So what is aestivation? Aestivation is going to be the arrangement of petals and sepals on the floral bud. There are 4 types. First one is going to be valvate aestivation, second is twisted, third is going to be imbricate, and the fourth is waxillary aestivation. With this, we finished your accessory organs of reproduction of the flower, that is of the flower part, the accessory organs. Now coming to the third one, that is going to be your androecium. So what is this androecium? So androecium is going to be nothing but it is the male part of the flower, male reproductive organ of the flower. Androecium is going to be composed of stamens. This stamen is going to be representative of the male reproductive organ, the male part of the plant. This stamen is going to be consisting mainly of 2 types or 2 parts. The upper portion, this portion is known as the anther, and this stalk is going to be known as the filament. So hence the anther is going to be consisting of the stalk-like structure known as the filament and a bulged structure known as the anther. This anther that is going to be present, this anther is going to be having a bilobed structure. Bilobed means there are going to be 2 parts, 2 lobes, 2 bags in the anther, bilobed structure. And each of this lobe contains 2 chambers called pollen sac. So again these 2 bags are going to be having 2 bags. So these anthers are going to be again having 2 bags. So here one anther is going to be already bilobed, and within these lobes there are going to be again 2 bags, that is the pollen sacs which are going to be present. In these pollen sacs, the pollen grains are present, which is going to be the male reproductive organ or the male reproductive structure, you can say. A sterile stamen, that which stamen which is going to be sterile, which is not having any pollen grains or which cannot reproduce, is known as a staminode, which is very rare. Now, coming to the types of the androecium or coming to the types of the male reproductive part, that is the stamens, let us see which are they. So, when the stamens are attached to the petals, they are called epipetalous. You can see this type of epipetalous in the case of the brinjal plant. The stamens are going to be remaining attached to the petals. So, they will be called as the epipetalous. The second is going to be the epiphallus. When the stamen are attached to the perianth, they are called epiphallus. What is perianth? When the petals and the sepals are fused together, they are forming the perianth. We have already seen in the last video. So, whenever the stamen is going to be attached to the perianth, it is going to be called as epiphallus. Example is your lily plant. Then the next is polyandrous. So, what is polyandrous? If the stamen in a flower are free, it is called as polyandrous. Suppose if it is not going to be attached anywhere. So, here you can see that whenever it is going to be stamens, all the stamens are going to be free. It is going to be called as the polyandrous. And when the stamens are going to be united means into a bundle, you can call it as the synandrous. So, when the stamens are free, they are known as polyandrous, and when the stamens are united, they are known as synandrous. Then, if they are going to be free also, they are going to be of many types. So, synandrous stamens are going to be of many types: monoadolphus, diadolphus and polyadolphus. So, what is monoadolphus? Whenever the stamens are going to be united into one bunch or bundle, only one bundle or only one bunch is going to be there, it is going to be called as the monoadolphus. Example is China rose. Diadolphus is when stamens are united into two bundles. You can observe over here. The stamens are going to be arranged here in one bundle and only one stamen is going to be free over here. So, two bundles. So, example is in your pea plant. So, diadolphus. Polyadolphus, when stamens are united into more than two bundles, like you can see in the citrus plants, it is known as the polyadolphus. So, in this manner, the stamens can be of monoadolphus, diadolphus and polyadolphus. So, this is going to be all about the male reproductive part, that is your androecium. Now, coming to your androecium, we can see that there can be many variations in the length of the filament of the flower also. The length of the filament, that is the length of the stalk of the anther, can be long or it can be short. So, there are going to be different lengths of the androecium. The last part is going to be the gynoecium. So, this gynoecium is the female reproductive part, and this we will be studying in my next video.